Please call my phone, okay?
Sir,
Sure, sir, will do.
And there is associated symptom: poor performance, difficulty in paying attention, learning and behavioral problem, poor growth, hyperactivity also is very important. Unlike adults, all time snoring is the not a main clinical feature. So we say this also is very important, because the sometimes I will show the only disturbed sleep, not huge snoring. This is also obstructive sleep apnea. So causes, so definitely I have also explained. Besides these adenoid tonsil, obesity, craniofacial anomalies, neuromuscular disorder, Paris syndrome, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, sickle cell, I will show everything. This is the tonsil and this is the adenoid obstructing the area. Now diagnosis, how the a routine questionnaire first to the parents, does your child snore, disturb sleep, and have problem paying attention, any recurrent OME or not, any pain is not, learning difficulties or not, and any history of family nasopharynx, we know oximetry, ECG, but we prefer, in our institute, we prefer the nasal endoscopy. So nasal endoscopy, we think this is the gold standard, better than the sometimes also the CT scan. Diagnostic nasal endoscopy is very simple. In 2 years, about 1 years of age also, if patient party is cooperating and allow, definitely it's possible. Example, 3 years, 2 years, all time is possible. And it's very much easy. And you see, if you do endoscopy, all clear, no patient party also convinced, you also convinced. Sometimes in X-ray, possible to evaluate properly. Sometimes institution to block or not, that is not possible to see. Okay, and also this is the totally obstructive there. Any space is there or not, all will be possible. All will be evaluated very clearly with endoscope. Now, this one patient's also done tonsil adenoidectomy, 2 years of age, but basically 2007 March in patient not happy after operation also, and patient party repeatedly complained. Doctor told that is the allergy problem, so definitely, but not allergy problem. Basically, check not endoscopically done, is by conventional method done. So we just convinced to perform the nasal endoscopy. There is a huge adenoid basically. So it's a residual, and also within of 2 months is a huge enlargement. So this is the obstruction. So this is the advantage of the nasal endoscopy. All time routine X-ray sometimes not properly evaluate the exactly posterior part of the nasopharynx is clearly the mass is there or not. Here you see the one X-ray, not clearly seen, no mentioned, not seen in NAD, but we do endoscopy according to. So we have done endoscopy, the huge adenoid is there. Sometimes misdiagnosis. So nasal endoscopy is the best diagnostic tool in case of OSA in pediatric group. So medical management, definitely medical management, but I will discuss the surgical management today. The intranasal corticosteroid, no. But if really huge enlarged adenoid, so adenoid tissue with not antibiotic, with not corticosteroid, with not anti-allergic, it is reduced. If they'll be there up to 40 years of age, 55 years of age, you have seen that a lot of huge adenoid patient is there. So the positive CPAP, BiPAP, and oral appliance, dental device or mouthpieces. So also their treatment. But now I show the example. You see, Prader-Willi syndrome. There is a lot of time patient party admitted with kids. They repeatedly told that this Prader-Willi syndrome is there, so muscular disability, so problem is there, so we should not do the tonsillectomy, adenoidectomy. But we, after that, we convince the patient after doing endoscopy. So if we do the this obstruction correction, definitely there's a lot of fantastic result. There is chance of at least more than 90% result. So you see, now the after operation is the 100% patient happy, and the life will change. Life totally change after this operation. Now this is the one other picture. Look here. Not the huge. Okay, the difference. Look here. I'm just look here after just adenoidectomy, not tonsillectomy. There is a total gross difference. Another patient I will show is a very fantastic, not snoring, only disturbed sleep. Look here, and the patient gone the different states with lot of medication shown, ENT shown, all sleep test also done, but patient is not happy at all. You see, after nasal endoscopy, we diagnosed properly. After that, we have seen. Look here, right and left. We have seen the adenoid and convinced the patient this is due to
So don't do anything, Mr.
Okay.
Yeah, better. Hello.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Now suddenly stop. Why?
Yeah. Open.
No, management. So surgical management is the most important. Adenoidectomy, tonsillectomy, turbinoplasty, septoplasty, spirectomy also, reduction of salpingopharyngeal fold in case of selected teenage patient group, not only 1 year, 2 years of age, definitely 15 years of age, 13 years of age, huge obese patient, salpingopharyngeal fold also will be should be removed. Adenoidectomy, but more important than tonsillectomy in case of OS in children. Endoscopic adenoidectomy is done also, if possible also conventional without any scene, totally blind curative method. But after that, this method also is the good microdebate. But microdebate technique also there is a disadvantage sometimes due to bleeding. Basically, 100% tissue not removal possible, and also pack should given after operation, waiting, checking. Also, there is a problem sometimes we face, and in case of 2 years, 3 years, it's very difficult basically because the nasal space is less. So sometimes it's very difficult bleedings. So recurrence, there is a chance also recurrence. But look here now is the coblation technology is the main nowadays. So that is the difference. You should see the difference. It's a fantastic technology. The ablation property is there, suction property, and coagulation property also. So without any drops of bleeding, all tissue will be ablated. So tissue debulking will be fantastically done. All structure will be properly seen, and incision tuberosity and incision tube will be properly seen, and 100% removal possible. Look here, another surface also up to perimycial sheath, periosteal sheath, all will be removed up to. So this is the perimycial sheath, above the periosteal sheath, all 100% removal possible with this technology. So this is a fantastic. So there is no chance of recurrence if you do properly surgery. So I will show one patient admission to discharge. How it will be possible? Look here, one patient. Smile face.
একটু হেসে দাও
Anesthesia. This way approach. Why this I am showing how we administer operation. So basically,
ঢুকলাম সর্দি ঠিক আছে সব দিন এখন
look here. Yes. How oral cavity and pushing this is the operation. It hangs. So beautifully done. See, and after just anesthesia, and just in one 5 minutes, and after 3 hours, and after 4 hours discharge.
ঠিক আছে
দুটো করতে হলো আমি
Coblation within 4 hours discharge. Will patient party also happy. Same day discharge. Also, I will show the picture. You saw the with microdebate. I see the picture of clarity of the with coblation. Definitely, but this is a tool. It's cannot the substitute of a surgeon skill and technique. Definitely, but you should know anatomy, you should know basic concept. Only you will purchase and coblation and you do everything. This is a learning process also required. So how is the with tonsillectomy done also under microscope?
বলো নাম বলো তোমার
স্বপ্নেন্দু
Patient
নন্দী
also adenoid
বাড়ি
tonsil.
কোথায়
Look
রায়নগর
here how
নদীর প্রথমে
this is the microscope. Under microscope, under microscope, we are huge government. This is the movement.
রাইট সাইডে টনসিলেক্টমি
So no bleeding at all, no bleeding, adenoid also.
ব্লিডিং
And look here after just 2 minutes. Anesthesia free. Look here, anesthesia free. Just 2 hours, 3 hours, and after
অপারেশন হয়েছে
5 hours totally discharged.
3 ঘন্টা।
Adenoid tonsil.
হ্যাঁ?
So we say the same the discharge this technology. So they can proceed.
কোনো কষ্ট আছে রক্ত
And
বেরোচ্ছে
life will be changed.
একদম নরমাল ঠিক আছে বলো নাম
The main advantage, no chance of recurrence and the reactional hemorrhage at all. Secondary hemorrhage, there is a chance, but I will explain how, if question arises, how will prevent this. Now also just simply how the under magnification I have shown, just look here, technique is the unedited CD. The no drops of bleeding from upper pole to lower pole. Clear, and operation within 2 minutes. This is also a right side. Look here, the plane. This is the main, the plane, fantastic plane. So operation will be done within 5 minutes. So is the smoothness, is the comfort level, and time also. So if you don't injure the muscle plane, the less pain also. So healing also same discharge. Patients benefit, better patient outcome, minimum pain, fast recovery, reduce less incidence of post-op nausea, a quick return. Okay. The same day discharge, 2 years of age, 2 years of age. Look here, these all are adenoid tonsil OSA patient. And also turbinoplasty also required sometimes if turbinate is huge with the microdebrider. Look here, the tunnel technique. So automatically I just debulk the turbinate with tunneling technique. So space will be fantastic. Also, there is required the reduction of salpingopharyngeal fold in case of teenage bulky patient. Sometimes you see the big salpingopharyngeal fold. If not reduced, and with another instrument is very difficult, but with coblation is very simple. So if you reduce this salpingopharyngeal fold, definitely the good result with coblation it is possible after septoplasty also. So, and also the spirectomy, septoplasty also endoscopic guided, so required also to overcome the sometimes OSA patient. Not only adenoid tonsil, sometimes huge, if huge deviation corrected with endoscopically as much as required. So this is the presentation the OSA, obstructive sleep apnea. So thank you so much for giving me also this opportunity, and thank you all participants. Definitely I will now answer. Otherwise, or after total session, we will answer just according to discussion of the company. Hello.
Yeah,
Am audible?
Yeah, very much, sir.
When this will be answered now or after Devan presentation?
Few questions we will take, sir. There is one question. What is the lowest age to do adenoidectomy
Yes.
in symptomatic?
In symptomatic case, we have done also 1 year 4 months kid, but not tonsillectomy. tonsillectomy. If at that age, 3 years of age or 4 years of age, we have done tonsillectomy, but sometimes I counsel about tonsillotomy. But in case of 2 years of age, routinely, if symptomatic and severe obstructive sleep apnea, we are regularly doing the tonsillectomy. In our series, 1 year 4 months age. Okay.
Right. Dr. Prakash Munka, you are having, sir, any question?
Yes, sir. Dr. Munka, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Boliye.
Munka, sir.
Hi, Tushar. Excellent presentation. Your sound come little closer to the mic. Your sound is breaking, Tushar.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now is it clear? No.
Yeah, it's an excellent presentation. Only one thing which I earlier also told you,
Yes, sir.
that just doing adenoidectomy is probably only for the younger children where nasal blockage is predominant.
Yes, yes. So
But it is always better to combine tonsil adenoid, say something like 3 years of age onwards. That is my understanding.
Yes,
Your comment
you are right. If sometimes too young age problem, severe problem, you should do adenoidectomy. So after adenoidectomy, patient will be definitely benefited 80%. If grade 4 tonsil only, in case of children also 2.5 years of age, if you do adenoidectomy, then at least 80% benefit. After that patient, after you should counsel, after 4 years of age or 5 years of age, we should do, if not regress tonsil.
See, basically, I have done open tonsillectomy with the cold instrument. As far as the outcome is concerned, no doubt this is a better technique. There is no blood loss. Apart from that, end result in tonsil are more or less the same as that of the coblation. But adenoid, definitely, it is the technique. Adenoid should never be done.
You are right. End result is
Adenoid should never be done with the old snare and the blind technique, because that may lead to self-angiitis, and then you put a grommet, then patient comes with the secretory otitis media. So adenoid, better if you don't have the grommet, don't have the coblation, don't do it. That is my sincere advice. But tonsil, of course, you can do with the cold instrument if you don't have the coblation. But it is always better if you combine the two processes.
Yeah, definitely.
And as per the Weldeyer's ring, because lingual tonsils are the biggest lymph nodes in that part. So if you take out the tonsil, in many of the cases, the adenoids do regress if it is not blocking from the beginning.
Yes, sir. One only problem, tonsillectomy outcome, the definitely same, no doubt about it. But during surgery, you will be more comfortable. Previously, after tonsillectomy, every time was scared. During operation and also reactionary, also secondary, everything. Now is very much comfortable. During surgery, you're just at ease, no tension at all. Within 5 minutes, 2 minutes, no checking, rechecking also. That's the more common. If you are one time habituated with the coblation, then is the difficult. Habituated with the Porsche or BMW, no, then it's very difficult to drive the Maruti 800 or Alto. This is the type with the coblation. Definitely, outcome is the same. If you go the Delhi, definitely you will go rich. But if you go by Lamborghini, that is the difference. This is the type of coblation and conventional. Sorry.
Sir, we have Dr. KJ Unyal. He's having some question. Sir, you can ask your question.
Yes, sir.
Dr. KJ Unyal. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Dr. KJ Unyal, we have unmuted you.
Hello. Hi.
I think he's not available, sir. We can move further.
No, just answering the question. What is the question?
No, sir. He has raised his hand. He wanted to ask question himself, but maybe
sometimes
he's not getting unmuted.
Yes.
Yeah. There is Shiva Kumar. Right, sir. We can move ahead.
If required again, I will
take
answer after the event presentation.
Yeah, after the Devan sir's presentation, we will take also. Yeah, better.
Okay.
Yeah. very much.
Okay, now I am handing the microphone to the man. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
You are audible, sir.
Yes. So hi. Good afternoon, everyone. I just cannot see anyone. Yes. So I'll keep the screen share on because my presentation is there only. So the topic of my presentation is. Hello.
Yeah, yeah. We are getting you.
Hello. Yes. Okay. So the topic of my presentation today is microscopic thyroidectomy. I hope it is visible in your screens.
Very much.
On your screens.
Very much.
Oh,
Full,
okay, fine.
full
So I'll not, as our time is not very limited, we have wasted a lot of time connecting this. So I'll just straight jump into the presentation. Is microscopic thyroidectomy from the perspective of an ENT surgeon. So we all know about thyroid surgery, and there are good, bad, and uglies in all the surgeries. So what is the good thing about thyroid surgery? It's a age-old surgery. We have been doing it for last almost 200 years. And so the good part is it has good anatomical landmarks and guidelines. And pre-planning of a surgery is very easy because we have accessible tools, radio and histopathological tools to evaluate the patient before we jump into a surgery. What are the bad things? Yes, the bad things are because thyroid is a vital organ and it stays in the neck. It is surrounded by several organs which are very important, like recurrent laryngeal nerve, parathyroid, and there are many vessels around. What are the ugly things? Things can turn very ugly if there is a bad pathology. If the anatomy is distorted, there is extensive fibrosis. We are doing a revision case or something, then things can turn ugly. Other thing that can turn things ugly, that is an improper exposure and visualization. And third thing, which is of course surgeon's own competence. So mostly we are going to deal with visualization. So ENT surgeon equals to microsurgeon. We can say this safely because from the residency itself, we are well accustomed to the microscope. And we have acquired the skill of doing finer things under microscope. Like, just give you example, this is a stapy surgery. Just see the finesse when we are doing it. It's just 0.6 mm hole that we are making on the stapes foot. Think about the finesse we use under microscope. If we have that skills, why can't we use it on the neck surgery? Why can't we use it on the thyroid surgery? It's like having a reading glass and not using it during when you are reading a newspaper. So yes. So what are the pros of microscopic thyroidectomy? The first pros is obviously it is better visualization. It is useful in tracing and preserving vital structures like recurrent laryngeal nerve or external branch of superior laryngeal nerve, parathyroid. It gives us more opportunity to do better hemostasis. It does better, and we can better manage the complications that can arise during the surgery. And it is an excellent tool for demonstration and recording. You all know recording nowadays has become a vital part because of the increasing medical legal aspects of our practice. So there are, it is the restricted field of vision. There are multiple studies saying what is the optimal distance and all. I'm not going to jump into those details, but it definitely gives you a little restricted field of vision than the conventional technique. It has a learning curve like any other technique. And sometimes because it is a big instrument, you are dealing with a microscope, ergonomically it might not be very suitable. You have to find the proper place, proper way to stand with it, proper way to do it with the microscope. Otherwise it is going to give you a very bad neck ache or a bad backache. Hello. I hope I'm still audible.
Yes, sir. You are very much
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yes. So
all the three are for the surgeon. And the most important thing, it has a learning curve for the assistant also, because the assistant is not looking at the microscope. He has to assist without microscope. He has to be very coordinated with the surgeon. So I'll show you what we do in our setup. I'll just get a picture. Yes, this is a picture in our setup, how we do it. You can see there are three people. Can you see three people? The
Sir, I'm
first
sorry to
assistant
interrupt.
stands up.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. If you could speak a little
Yes.
louder, sir.
Okay, fine.
Right.
You, yes, is it fine now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So it is how we do it in our setup. You can see Dr. Tushar operating. Dr. Tushar sir is operating. He is on the surgeon's end. You can see the microscope is there. The first assistant is standing on the head end so that he can assist him well and look at the screen, look at the monitor if needed. And the second assistant, who is giving you the instruments mostly, is standing on the opposite side with the trolley. That's how we do it. But yes, every surgeon, every setup has their own this thing. Nothing is good or nothing is bad. This is our technique. Now, how we do it, how we use microscope. So after a normal coccus incision, an elevation of flap, we introduce microscope straight away. We use 300 mm lens with 0.4x magnification. That is usually what we do, and 0.6x while tracing the nerve. Then we deliver the gland like normal, and we ligate the middle thyroid vein if present, and the lower pole is freed. Then we trace the RLN till it enters the larynx and inferior thyroid artery, then ligate it, preserving the parathyroid vasculature. Then the superior pedicle is addressed, preserving the external branch of superior laryngeal nerve. And after removal of gland, this is very important, we do examine the thyroid bed again and again with under microscope to see whether there is some small vessels which still need to be addressed for a better hemostasis, and to see the parathyroids. We'll come to that in later slides. So now I want to show you some videos. These are not like detailed videos about how the surgery is done. It's just few steps just to give you a rough idea. This is how we are, because sometimes there are bigger vessels in lower pole. We have to tie the vessels. I'll just jump cut a little bit. Yes. Now you can see this is the area we are just removing that safely, and see the visualization under microscope. We can see each and every details very, very nicely. See now, can you see this is recurrent? We can see. Can you see this is the nerve that we can see? We can see properly. Yes, we are coming back to the upper pole now. Yes, we have ligated the upper pole, and then we are cutting the pedicle close to the thyroid. Yes. So now this is another case. See, in this case, the nerve has been traced. You can see there, and this is how we are slowly detaching the fibers. We use bipolar when we are safely away from the nerve. We can use it. What we do usually, we tend to put a small gauge piece there just to cover the nerve so that we cannot go down and injure the nerve. And then when you are away from the nerve, use the bipolar. Near the nerve, it is better to use more precise. You can see the nerve there more precisely with the blade or something. That is what we use. So now, and don't worry, it is going to be, there can be a little bit of bleeding, but with the help of microscope, it is very, very, very well visualized, and you can just pinpoint, locate the point, and cauterize it with the bipolar. Now, jumping to another one, yes. Can you see this is the end result of the dissection? There is a nerve well preserved. Yes. Now, this is another case where, yes, I wanted to show you this because can you see there are inferior thyroid artery branches? The nerve is between the branches, and you can see small of inferior thyroid artery supplying the parathyroid. Case. This was a nice case. Yes, and after delineating the nerve properly, after doing a proper testing addressing the inferior thyroid artery branches, we are just removing the upper pole and see the thyroid is almost free from all the ends except for the isthmus. Now we'll cut down the isthmus and we are good to go. So now I want to share some data. This is not particularly a study. This is just our experience regarding the thyroid surgeries. We have totally operated 80. So 24, 21 cases, we have not used any microscope. In those cases, 17 were benign and 4 were malignant. We have done 8 total thyroidectomies, 2 subtotal, and 11 hemithyroidectomies. There were 5 males and 16 females, and average drain kept for 1.84 days, and we usually remove drain when it is less than 10 cc. Now, the complications, we saw one unilateral recurrent laryngeal palsy. That was a malignant case with a total thyroidectomy. The right-sided recurrent laryngeal palsy was there. And there were 2 cases of persistent hypocalcemia. We are only discussing about persistent hypocalcemia here, not about the transient, because there are 3-4 cases of transient hypocalcemia. I'll talk about it also later. And 1 case of post-op neck hematoma. Now, in the next 18 cases, microscope was only used as an adjunct during the recurrent laryngeal nerve tracing. The cases, the distribution of cases, as you can see it on the screen, the average drain time was 1.62. The complication in this, we saw 1 patient with a persistent hypocalcemia, which is most likely due to injury to the parathyroid glands. This was a total thyroidectomy case. And there were 2 unilateral external branch of superior laryngeal nerve. I want to say something about this. This trauma we detected after introduction of microscope. Previously, what we used to do, we used to ligate the upper pole and free the lower pole and then introduce the microscope. That was our technique previously when the microscope was only being used as an adjunct. So in those cases, those series we have seen, we have already done trauma to 2 external branch of superior laryngeal nerve that we discovered after introducing the microscope. There was no recurrent laryngeal nerve injury. There was no post-op hematoma. And coming to the next 44 cases, we did completely microscopic. That we have described the technique before. You can see the distribution of patients. There were 26 hemithyroids, 3 subtotal, total 14, and we did a completion thyroidectomy. Previously, hemithyroidectomy done from outside. It was a follicular CA, and male-female ratio was 10:33. The average drain kept for 1.16 days. So, what? So complications, we saw laryngeal nerve injury. The nerve was adherent to the tumor. We'll describe over the case also. And there was no parathyroid, no external branch of recurrent laryngeal nerve damage. There was no post-op hematoma. So what we learned from this? We learned primarily there is less chances of recurrent laryngeal nerve parathyroid and EBSNL damage after using the microscope. The chances of post-op hematoma was also greatly reduced. Unilateral external branch of superior laryngeal nerve is often overlooked because of the lack of symptoms. The patient does not come with the symptom usually until unless the patient is a singer or something. We all know the story of that Amelie Tagali, the opera singer who lost her ability to sing in high pitches after the thyroidectomy. It's a famous case. So yes, we do overlook that thing sometimes, but with the help of microscope, we can easily identify that and preserve it. There was no significant difference in operating time between the conventional and microscopic thyroidectomy. In this point, I want to say something. Yes, when we switched from conventional to microscopic, it used to take significant lot of time. But in the long run, when you do it regularly, because with the microscope, you can visualize better. It helps you in the operating time, and sometimes we do it faster than the conventional technique. And the average drain kept time was significantly reduced after using microscope. You can see 1.84 versus 1.16. So in our setup, it's a norm that we operate today. And by tomorrow afternoon, the patient is going home after removal of drain. So yes, what are the other things we discussed about the other? I think two participants have already raised hands. I can somebody read me out the queries? I cannot see them. Hello. Hello. I cannot see the chat for some reason. Can somebody read me out the chat queries or whatever?
Flexible, actually, question answer. Flexible endoscopy is
Right,
easier
sir.
to install. However, the rigid gives much better picture. Yes. Flexible endoscopy is easier to install. However, the rigid gives much better picture, sir. Definitely. No, sir. Microscope is brought into the field.
Okay, okay. I'll just come back to
Another-
the this.
No, sir. Microscope is brought into the field, exposing the thyroid gland.
He has written. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, Dr. Shrija is helping us out with the queries on the chat. Dr. Shrija Gupta is my colleague. We are working in GoShianti. He is helping us out in the chat because I cannot see the chat properly. He is replying.
Definitely.
Over clips, harmonic scalpel. Yes, it depends. Actually, the point is, see, no technique is bad. No technique is good. Harmonic scalpel can also give you a great result. And so is a simple thing like ligature. Yes, but you have to be cautious. If you are entrapping something else with the ligature, that is going to give you a bad result. Similarly, harmonic scalpel is a safer instrument for that matter, but it all depends upon how you use it. I think that that is fine for the query, right?
Will you change
Okay.
the position of surgeon for better dissection?
Yes, you can try. There are different studies also telling about the ergonomics when you are using the microscope in open surgeries. You can go through the studies. What we have found, what we do in our setup, I have already shown you the position. It's a rough idea. This is not a norm or something. This is just how we found it convenient. So you can obviously, yes, devise your own procedure and this thing. Just be cautious because it can give you a bad backache if you are not using the microscope properly. So yes, I'll come back to the slides now. I want to show you the recurrent injury that we were discussing about when we use the microscope for thyroid surgery. That injury was not, that was because the tumor was adherent to the nerve. So what we did a recurrent laryngeal nerve end-to-end repair because the stump was not very far away. Yes, now people can ask me question about why haven't you used a cable graft or why haven't you done answer recurrent anastomosis. That is fine, but there are pros and cons of every technique. But yes, for this case, we have done an end-to-end anastomosis. And you can see this is the nerve. There are two ends of the nerve. And after releasing with from the surrounding tissue, we have started doing the anastomosis. We have done it with 8-0. Yes. And after the anastomosis, this is finally how the nerve looked. And this was possible because we were using a microscope for the patient and kept the patient for a second stage surgery only for the nerve repair or something. And this is after 3 months, we did a flexible laryngoscopy. You can see it's not a very significant result, but yes, there are some flickering movements of the arytenoid, and the tone of the vocal cord has improved a lot significantly. So another thing I wanted to discuss was the decongestion of parathyroid gland. Now, what is decongestion of parathyroid gland? See, this is a preserved, but can you see the blackening all around? These are the charring. Hello?
Yes, audible.
Hello, yes. This is the vasculature is well preserved. Can you see the charring all in and around parathyroid? So yes, parathyroid obviously has an arterial supply. We are not going to the anatomical detail, but yes, arterial supply is of course important for any organ to survive, but so is the venous drainage. So sometimes when we are overzealous for hemostasis, we might ensure the in and around venous drainage of the parathyroid. That might give rise to a blackened appearance of the parathyroid when you examine it after removal of the thyroid. When you go back to the bed, see the color of the parathyroid. It's very important. What we practice regularly, we go back to the thyroid bed after removal of thyroid. We see the color of the parathyroid. If it is congested, what we do, we take a sharp knife, we slit on the parathyroid capsule, just let it decongest a little bit. When it comes back to the color, we can be assured that, okay, this parathyroid is not going to die, because if you leave it congested, at some point it is going to die despite of having a proper blood supply. So you have to be cautious about that. And how? With microscope, this is very, very, very easy to do. Now, why not loops? This is a normal question that can come. Loops are also excellent devices. There are many good points about the loops. Primarily, the field of vision is better. Second thing, it is not. You can carry it whenever you are not operating in a setup, in a familiar setup. You can just take it in your pocket and go and operate somewhere else. But the discussion today is not about how to use better than the other. It's about what is convenient to an ENT surgeon. So as an ENT surgeon, we are better accustomed with the microscope. So, and the thing that we have been using since the very first few months of our residency, why not use that for something which needs a finer work, like a thyroid surgery or a neck surgery? So yes, loops are of course good. They have their own pros and cons, but microscope as an ENT surgeon should be our preferred instrument. And microscope also provides better provision for demonstration. If you're demonstrating towards young uh, aspiring ENT surgeons, it's very useful because they can see the level of details, they can see the intricate, how you are dissecting through the vessels, through the important structures, with the help of microscope. And it is very, very essential for documentation purpose. It can give you a very, very good video for a demonstration purpose or for your own documentation purposes. Now, what are the take-home messages? Primarily, microscope does make life easy because it magnifies your view. It gives you a better visualization to the structures in and around. And the possibilities and the advantages in thyroid and other head neck surgeries are enormous, because the intricate details that you can see, you can anticipate. When you can anticipate the blood vessel which is there, which is what the nerve, where to start dissecting, where not to start dissecting, it just makes life easy. And second thing, it makes you a better tissue handler because you can see the tissue properly. So you do a better tissue handling with a much lesser complication rate, at least in our setup. Thyroid surgery and microscope comes under ENT domain. You all know we have all fought in residencies because thyroid is being done by general surgeons, by head neck surgeons, by ENT surgeons, by endocrine surgeons. So if we use microscope, if we can give that finesse, that compliance to the patient, it already comes under our own domain, ENT domain. And last but not the least, you have to remember one thing: it's simply a tool. It is not a substitute for your knowledge of anatomy, your knowledge of your surgical skill is the most important thing. It's the most important instrument that you have. So I am going to end up the discussion just by showing you this picture. This is a simple picture of rose. We all love rose. Rose is a beautiful thing. But if you zoom in, if you magnify the image, you can see the intricate details, how beautifully nature has created it. So why not take that advantage? Thank you all for listening to my presentation, and I hope there will be some questions regarding Dr. Ghosh's presentation too. So now, if somebody can narrate us the questions or somebody can join us in the chat, we can both answer the questions accordingly. Thank you.
এটা কি তুমি লিখেছো না কোশ্চেন? এটা skin incision is not given.
Yes. Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes, you are audible, sir.
Yes. If there is any question which is not answered, we'll be happy to answer them. Just can you just narrate? Can somebody narrate us a question?
We have and Dr. Shivakumar. We are unmuting him. Dr. Shivakumar, we have unmuted. You can ask your question. Kumar,
Yes.
we have unmuted you. You can ask question. Hello. Dr. Shivakumar, can you hear us, sir? I think he's not there. Dr. Easy.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Shivakumar. Yes, we can
Yes,
hear you.
do you hear me? Sir,
Yes, yes.
yeah, as per evidence-based medicine or for the literature, there is nothing which says coagulation is free from any complications. Complications are least with the cold steel instruments rather than with the coagulation. And the pain factor is more than compared to cold steel instruments. So you cannot say that the secondary hemorrhage or primary hemorrhage does not occur with coagulation.
Okay, I will give the mic to Dr. Ghosh. I know, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, please. Hello.
Yes,
Am I audible?
Yeah, very
yes,
much,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Please ask a question, sir. I will explain.
Sir, as per evidence-based medicine or available journals,
Yes, sir.
the cold steel instruments are far superior to coagulation or any other advanced instruments.
Yes, sir.
The complication rate is the least in the cold steel instruments. You said that the hemorrhage is little with the coagulation van. I have also used it. I have tried all the measures. And also there are umpty number of articles which says the pain is more with the other type of instruments than with cold steel instruments.
Sir, your question. If you use, sir, 20 or first 30, then your thinking will this way. When you use the more than 100, more than 200, more than 500, more than 1500, then total thinking will different way, sir. Basically, I also face, and my assistant also told, sir, why unnecessary you will do tonsillectomy. Conventional is the technique is fantastic, no problem. Okay, but initially there is a definitely you face the primary hemorrhage also, no reactionary hemorrhage, also secondary hemorrhage. After you have done surgery and you and magnification use, then you think every within 2 minutes, 3 minutes you will complete the surgery. And if you check 1 minute or 2 minutes more, there is be negligible secondary hemorrhage. And secondary hemorrhage here also, you should not go with OT. I have never done. I have never gone. Basically, 2 patients 3 years back, 1 or 2 patients admitted in nursing home for secondary hemorrhage. Now 4 years, no patient admission because we now follow the protocol, tranexamic acid for 10 days and also keep tranexamic acid for 5 days. Because here all are teeny vessels, teeny veins bleeding, no active bleeding from any arterial bleeding. Here after if you do the coagulation surgery, so there is no chance of huge bleeding, only clot, slight bit of oozing. That will be simply possible. That will be simply cold water gargling and tranexamic acid, also assurance. This is the enough. Also, if you prescribe the 10 days tranexamic acid, then what is the harm? No harm at all. No harm at all. No harm at all. If you just ask the party to take the 10 days tranexamic acid, because when bleeding started, we prescribed the just change take the tranexamic acid. But our protocol 10 days tranexamic acid, and you will face no chance of secondary hemorrhage. It's very, 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 very rare. And also the fact during surgery, after just completion of surgery, don't put any cotton or gauze to the tonsillar bed. Check with rubbing. Check with coagulation with rubbing. Just any points of venous bleeding will there. You just So there is a chance of minimum secondary hemorrhage, because if I face the secondary hemorrhage, why unnecessarily we are doing, and we are more comfortable. We sure patient will go the Kujivihar nowadays just after OT, and also the different 100 miles away from our institute, because I know there is no chance of secondary hemorrhage. But if you have remember use conventional technique, definitely you face all we are faced, and night terror, basically tension, night all times we are suffering. Okay, sir. Hello.
Yeah. Yes. Nice,
This is
sir.
the difference basically. And during surgery, no, the conventional technique definitely good if you're doing. But with coblation at ease, you will love that to do surgery. In conventional, not loving. Basically, there is a chance of definitely bleeding and packing and checking after anesthesia. Also, we always ask the anesthetist, oh, please check the bleeding at all. Just you go and sit to take the coffee.
Yeah. Please ask. Dr. Biswajit.
Hello.
Hi, Dr. Biswajit. Yes,
Hi,
you can
sir.
ask your question.
Namaskar.
Excellent presentation, sir. Thus,
Thank you.
I have put to one question, sir. Do you prefer flexible endoscopy rather than rigid endoscopy in pediatric OSA?
Sir, we prefer the more rigid endoscopy. We basically use the 2.7 pediatric endoscope. And
Okay, sir.
if you put the gyroquine and adrenaline just before 5 minutes, 10 minutes before, this will be there. Okay. And just counsel guardian. Okay, no pain, nothing. And assistant will hold the head, hands and above and hold it. And automatically the clear cut picture will be there. But if you use, we have a flexible endoscope also. If you use the flexible, sometimes there is a chance of theoretically less trauma, but picture is not, picture quality not good. Rigid, fantastic picture. But
The
if
my
you use 0.7 endoscope, there is a no chance of injury. If you put the gyroquine adrenaline, the space will be there, and automatically you will see the fantastic.
Sir, visibility from the visibility point, yes, rigid is always better.
But
For the multi-level obstruction, if the style is a multi-level obstruction,
yes, sir. In multi-action, basically in case of adult, before we do definitely flexible. Sometimes in case of huge adenoid and tonsil also, and we think that is the problem, a different problem. Sometimes we check again also the flexible. But normally in case of children, in static obstruction much more, we are more comfortable with the rigid. But in case of adult, definitely we do flexible. In rare case, sometimes we are not huge adenoid, moderate adenoid, huge tonsil, and sometimes we just few days back we are not sure about the sound, so you use the flexible. Flexible, honestly speaking, flexible not everyday day-to-day practice. Rigid endoscopy is the day-to-day practice. Flexible is sometimes added if we confused about our diagnosis. If sometimes we think that larynx problem will be there, then we do only flexible side.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Biswajit. We have our very senior doctor from Northeast, Dr. Abhidya Burgoyne. I try to unmute.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Abhidya.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
Harpreet this side.
Yes,
Hi, sir.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hi, sir.
Sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, very much, sir. Please.
Okay. Fine. It is very much. Actually, we are quite enjoying your talks. Actually, at this moment, I have nothing to ask at this moment because due to some reasons, I had to leave in between.
No issue, sir. No issue, sir. No issue, sir.
No issue, sir. Tomorrow again, our one presentation is there. And stuffiness in case of children, is this allergy or something else? Here also, this type of discussion and this type of movie all will be presented tomorrow. I will post just after 1 hour, 2 hours.
Right. Right. We
Sir, any
have-
question?
I'm just checking, sir. 1 minute. Yes, Dr. Bhumi Reddy. Just a minute. Yes, Dr. Bhumi Reddy.
Yeah, hello.
Dr. Bhumi Reddy. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Ghosh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Dr. Jayaprakash.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, see, I just want to add something to your answer. Who are asked cold steel instruments are better than conventional, they said coblation. I just want to add something to your answer. You said very nicely, but see, what I want to imply that is that, see, if you use cold steel instruments in case of tonsillectomy, likely to do excision of the capsule. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah, once you excise the capsule, what will happen is that your muscle will be exposed. Once the muscle is exposed, then there will be pain.
Right.
Whereas in case of coblation tonsillectomy, as you rightly said, for the first 20-30 cases, you will also do exposure of the muscle
And
because
come
of the
out
life
from
experience.
muscle.
As you learn surgery, then what you do, you need to, the transfer capsule is left over the superior constrictor muscle. Then two things will happen. Number one, pain will be very less. Number two, bleeding will be very minimal during surgery. And secondary hemorrhage is very less because you are not using the blue pedal at all. That means coagulation mode you are not using during surgery. With these 2 points, I can confidently tell anybody that the pain as well as bleeding
will be less. Definitely.
Number 2. The healing in coblation is different from conventional technique because you are using plasma energy power here.
Yes,
Healing will be by granulation. So because of the granulation, there will be something called as, I cannot tell you that it is bleeding, but I tell it is something called as spotting. We get
spotting. This is the correct word, the spotting.
Yeah, that's
not
what
required the admission, not required to going
yes,
OT.
not doesn't require. That's what you said. You didn't use the
Yes.
spotting. Yeah. So once the spotting is there, just hydrogen peroxide gargles, tranexamic acid, and with this conservative treatment, it will be all right. Unless if the patient is having too much of bleeding because of the transverse branch of the facial artery is exposed during surgery, I don't think anybody requires admission and take the patient to operation room again for the control of hemorrhage. For the past almost 13 years from now. So I never had to take the patient to the operation room, as Ghosh said rightly, as and when your experience is increasing, your complication surgery.
Yes. And less time and more headache.
It's a very clean surgery. It's a very clean surgery. You don't require to look into the the moment you do surgery, you will know which patient is likely to bleed in the post-operative period, which patient is likely not to bleed, because you are the surgeon who have done the surgery, expose the muscle and all the things that are likely to have some report. But as and when your experience increases, I am sure that very clean surgery with minimal pain and very less chances of bleeding.
Thank you so much.
Vivekanand Kolvekar from Belagavi. I have some question. If you can unmute.
Dr.
Vivekanand Kolvekar from Belagavi, Karnataka.
Yes, sir.
I will unmute him. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, my one question is, in fact, for the microscopic thyroidectomy vendor,
Okay.
You know, when you will use the microscope, right from the beginning, or only when we should use only at the beginning from the incision you are using, or only when you are at the lower portion of the
Sir, actually, there are studies. Hello.
Yes.
Some studies they have started it from the beginning, from the incision itself, but in our incision, elevate the flaps and just
before touching the strap muscles, we start with microscope.
Okay, sir. Anyway, sir, how about using endoscope? Suppose other than microscope, suppose if we use an endoscope, 0-degree endoscope.
Where, sir?
Difficult.
Where, sir? Because in 0-degree endoscope, you have to have.
I do thyroid. I do thyroid surgery with the naked eye, but no doubt we always struggle at the upper and lower distance. Suppose that moment, suppose if we use 0-degree endoscope.
Sir, endoscope makes one hand completely not useful. Engaged completely. And second thing, when you are coming down to upper pole and lower pole, the most difficult thing that you face is tiny bleeding vessels, smaller bleeding vessels. That is what is diluting your vision. That is what is creating the problem in your vision. So if your hand is closed with holding the endoscope, of course you can use the endoscope for a closer vision. But endoscope cannot give you the depth sensation, the sense of depth as good as microscope can. And second thing, both of your hands are free. And third thing, I think in open surgeries, using endoscope itself is a little cumbersome, sir, because thyroid is any surgery, any open surgery is about traction and counter traction. You are pulling something and you are pushing something. This is how we dissect, right?
Okay. Anyway,
so yes, so you need both the hands.
Definitely, I will use some microscope during my thyroid surgery. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vivekanand.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please unmute the Dr. Satyabrato.
Dr. Satyabrato.
Satyabrato, please.
Fukan, sir.
Fukan. Dr. Satyabrato Fukan. Interested to.
Yeah. I'm unmuted. Yeah. Done, sir. Unmuted.
Hello.
Dr. Fukan, you can go ahead. Yes, sir.
Congratulations, Dr. Tushar Kanti Ghosh.
Oh, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
I have attended your Silchar the lecture also.
Yes,
in an Abicon Silchar.
Yes. Use of population in different
Yes. But I have got no question to ask you. I want to ask 2 questions to thyroid surgeon.
Oh, thyroid surgeon. Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, please, sir.
One thing I have to ask. In what case you have done subtotal thyroidectomy?
No, sir. We have done all types. We have done hemi. We have done.
No, you mentioned 3. Okay, total thyroidectomy and your hemithyroid. Okay, but in what indication you have done subtotal thyroidectomy?
Oh, that was in the first series, sir. Yes.
Now.
Yes, we know, sir. We know. I was expecting that question. Yes, we don't do subtotal anymore, sir. That was the first 2 cases.
Yes. Long back.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And another question.
Yes, sir.
We use sometimes on the loop to 2.5x, particularly parathyroid during the nerve to see the vasculature of parathyroid.
Yes, sir.
Only that. And thirdly, microscopic is very good for demonstration actually.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Satish Jain always used that with demonstration.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Otherwise, a very nice demonstration.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much that you.
Thank you.
I'll explain the postoperative diet of tonsillectomy.
Yes.
Yes. One question. Postoperative diet. Hello.
Sir. Tell me.
Postoperative diet after tonsil. We insist the patient party and patients also, if possible. First day definitely after 3 hours after operation, ice cream or a cold juice, not hot. Okay. Not chill, normal temperature. And same day night, semi-solid diet or liquid. And from next day, semi-solid and is possible, if possible, the normal diet. Because if chewing habit and normal diet, then pain will be less also. Because the pain after copulation, basically muscle spasm, not muscle injury, muscle spasm was there. If a chewing habit will be there and gurgling, good gurgling, then pain will be less. Okay, so as much as possible, normal diet next day, from next
day. Right. Right, sir. Hello.
Hello. Next question. Mainly, lot of question also already answered.
Actually.
Yes. Dr. Srijay Gupta is giving us giving answers from the chat. Just wanted to say hi to everyone, Srijay. Yes, he is our colleague, and he was answering on behalf of us because we couldn't see the chat during the discussion.
Basically, we are not habituated so much now. This is the different type of software. So
it's okay. If there are any questions,
I think
somebody wants to ask
Dr. Manoj Mukherjee from Bardhaman
Yes,
having some question.
Manoj
Dr.
is
R.
very
Lotha
close to
from
me.
Nagaland having question.
Yes,
Manoj.
Please.
Please.
What is the name?
Manoj Mukherjee from Bardhaman is very good surgeon. Is very close to me also. This is a question.
I can't trace him. Where is he?
Oh no, okay. I think not now not connected, but I will answer the question.
For SP folds, is it special one or same one?
Oh, SP fold, not this is same one, basically. Same one, EVAC. For all participants, no answer is the.
Again, sir was having another question. Do you use the same one or special channeling one for SP folds?
The SP fold now previously 5 years back channeling went, but nowadays I only use the same one.
Okay. Dr. R. Lotha from Nagaland.
R. Lotha. No, I'm not getting him. Hello.
Sir, I have unmuted Dr. R. Lotha. Doctor, you can go ahead with your question.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Lotha.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Dr. Lotha. Yes.
I just wanted to know what is the recurrence rate for this attenuate surgery by coblation in your case? I mean, in your hands. Any
coblation, sir, honestly speaking, no.
Okay.
I have not seen any recurrence, but I have seen some tissue, but not obstructive anyway. Because the eye just during I do the under vision, no, with endoscope. Normally I remove 100%, nearly 100%. Up to I have seen up to premenstrual sheath, periosteal sheath. So it's very negligible. Sometimes some cases I have seen some area means for some reason, because we do sometimes if OME complains, sometimes we do repeat check endoscope. At the time we have seen slight bit of tissue is there in two. So for that reason, I am interested to ask everyone, if young children, you should cautious about the surgery because there is a chance of recurrence.
Okay.
In case of adult or young adult, means 15, 14, 13, there is no chance of recurrence, I believe. But in case of less than 4 years, if you don't do perfect adenodectomy, complete adenodectomy, definitely there will be recurrence. All the documents. Tomorrow I'll also present this type of documents.
Okay.
Because the why required nasal stuffiness and all are not allergic. Sometimes definitely there is adenoid also. After surgery also there is a huge adenoid, but surgeons think that it is due to allergy. Medicine think this is all allergy. But there is all a document. There is not allergic problem basically. All are due to obstruction. Also, sometimes recurrent, sometimes primary adenoid is there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, there is a question from Dr. M.K. Jaiswal.
Yes, sir.
In recurrent acute tonsillitis, what first line oral medicine can be given?
Coamoxicillin, I think, is the first line of drug. After that, we do the cefuroxime also. Sometimes if staphylococcus also, the linezolide also.
Hello.
Happy participants also interested because if participant was send the question, no, means they are interested the topic.
Yes, sir. We have more than 268 doctors.
Yes.
Joined today, and
very nice
so much,
session.
very nice.
This opportunity. all participants also definitely many thanks to you all for organizing such a wonderful session. Okay, and all over India, I think all over India join in this session. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so very much to all the participants. Very senior doctors, they have participated today. Dr. Dharamveer Sethi was also there. Yeah, from Singapore. He was also there. Dr. Rakesh Srivastava, the leading laryngologist. He was also there. We are sincerely thankful to you for such high gesture, doctors coming to this platform. Sincerely thankful to you all. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
এইটা দেখলে স্টপ শেয়ারিং হলে এইগুলো দেখতে পাবো আমরা এখন, বুঝতে পারছি? অত তো জানি না শোনা। ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে, এবার কোশ্চেন হবে। বাট we leave.
You can press the leave meeting.
Yes, sir. I'll be ending the meeting for all. Thank you all from Alembic, the makers of cloth. Have a nice evening.
Yeah, top play. I'm like photo.